Hello, hello. This is another of the newer LEGO NEXO Knights sets. It's Aaron's X-Bow. Comes with 2 good guys and 2 bad guys, but they are not balanced between them in power. You see, all this is the NEXO Knights stuff. The antagonists just get this and that. The X-Bow itself is a multi-copter, has 2 rotors that spin independently. Unfortunately, unexpectedly, there's no mechanism to get those to spin. I thought there was going to be something in here with, a trigger mechanism or something that you could push on that would spin these up, but they're just manual. They've got little gears here to kind of help you with that. Strangely, the struts can move forward and back a bit. I don't think that's intended to be a feature. I think it's more of a bug than a feature, but it doesn't really bug me that much. Just a strange thing, a little bit unexpected. I like the shaping of the canopy here. It's unique. I don't like the color scheme still. I think that the LEGO designers make valiant attempts to make that color scheme work, and it still doesn't work for me personally. Just personal opinion. The green and the dark blue are difficult to put together, but then you bring in the trans reddish orange and wow, it's tough. The gold, actually, I feel doesn't hurt the color scheme that much here. I thought that it was going to make things look even more complex and busy, but it doesn't hurt to my eyes that much. Not as much as the blue elements that you can see. Fortunately, you don't see those from most angles. This does have a couple of spring-loaded shooters built into it. You can see the tails of those here, but there's no remote mechanism to fire those. And in fact, you even have to open up the laser doors, if you will, manually. They're actual doors. Studs on the side. Construction there, lime green color. Have to open those up to let them get fired off. Small little landing skid here at the front. A couple at the back has that sky crane kind of look. So this thing then with the shock, what does that do? Obviously that does something. It's a mechanism that is pretty smooth, works pretty well. It's very sturdy. The core of this build, the initial part of the build, lots of Technic stuff. Really, oh, I just half fired one of those spring-loaded shooters. Hey, that one actually was able to open the door on its own. The other one didn't. But yeah, all this stuff is very sturdy here in the center, and its purpose is to hold on to this bike. And the trigger's purpose is just to unlock it. So let that in there, and it grabs it. And you can kind of see these as being booster engines. They kind of look like it on the sides there. But the idea is that this thing would come down from above. You push on the trigger, and it just lets that off sideways, and then he has to make a 90-degree turn, and then they can go off and work together. Land and air, combined assault. I think it works fine. It just feels like there was a whole lot that went into building this core to do so very little. I feel like they could have used all that expense to better effect. I really thought there was going to be something to spin these. I want these to spin, man. I really do. Or at least give me a trigger to fire off the actual action feature at the front. Why hide those away? Some strange design decisions that I don't particularly agree with. I think that the thing looks nice here from this angle. It just has some nice lines, some nice sculpting involved. It does have spots to hold on to all the minifig accessories that are included for the 2 good guys in this set. Weapon for one of them gets attached there. It can be used as a small remote point defense turret, and then the other remaining weapon gets attached to the bike. Really quickly before I move on, the canopy has just 1 sticker on it to represent a heads-up display there, and of course the entire thing folds forward, and this is just a little bit flexy right here. It's not going to fall apart, but it just doesn't feel as sturdy as the rest of the build. And there is a little console sticker, actually a decent sized console sticker, but just 1 in there and no physical controls. Now the bike is pretty simple in its build, rolls just fine. It's fairly low to the ground and all, but it just works. This one has a couple of stud shooters there. They give you a couple of extra studs, so you can actually fire with that. I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I think this is just fine. There's nothing too fancy and special about it, but I think it does the trick, for what it's trying to be. Of course, you can swap out this blank element here on the front with a NEXO power if you want to, but I think it looks just fine as just a plain windscreen. I think this actually looks better from a lower angle than it does from most. The bad guy vehicle is a flyer, just kind of a flight pack. I like the shaping of that. I like the construction of it as well. For as simple as it is, as small as it is, I think that it's pretty nice. And you can also change the angles of these wings if you want to bring them up like this. You can bring them kind of back farther if you want to simulate them folding a bit. It's able to stand on the ground. It's lined up very nicely with the feet, so it's very easy to just deploy it. You don't have to worry about getting it properly posed. And it has a couple of the Tech Critter shooters that are on the back, which just look nice as they are to me. I prefer not to shoot those off just because I like to see them on there. I like that texture. I like that shaping. Whether you see those as cannons or engine inlets, it's just nice pieces to have, but they're intended to be actually fired off. And that went across the room somewhere. Fortunately, I have this one spare here. Yes. All these are the same throughout the series. Of course, in this set that has Aaron in the title of the set itself, the main good guy figure is Aaron. But on the right is Robin, who, since we last saw him, has grown longer legs. It's kind of how Lego figures grow up, right? They get their longer legs. Real huge figures, us actual human beings, get our adult set of teeth, and Lego figures get their adult set of legs. So congratulations to him for sure. We'll be looking at more of the details of that figure in just a moment. I wanted to make sure you could see how these looked up close with all of their stuff on. Neither one stands up particularly well because of the bulk of everything, but you can get them to pose on surfaces that are not studded. Just unfortunately with Aaron, you pretty much need to have the bow touching the ground. There are some ways you can get the shield to angle off to the side to kind of balance him a bit. Also helps if you turn the hand quote-unquote upside down to make the bottom of it stick out farther. The NEXO powers here are on the left, Manic Pumpkin, and on the right, Goosebumps. Of course, Aaron's bow or crossbow, however you want to use it, is able to shoot a single projectile. The chest armor pieces are identical between these two, and that's about all you can see before I start to strip some stuff off. This is the second set I've reviewed that has an Aaron in it for year 3, and this one is identical to the last, so there's nothing exclusive here with that figure, nothing new. Obviously, new stuff for Robin, including the face that looks a bit more mature, especially on this side, but the alternate face still looks a little bit childlike, maybe just grown up slightly from the last time we saw him. So definitely not so much time has gone by as you would think from the big difference in overall size. But yeah, I think both of these figures look pretty good. I like the new head for Robin. I like both expressions. I think they're both useful. And let's move over to the bad guys. On the left here is Van Biter, one word, number 307. Much less annoying than Van Biter number 306, thankfully. On the right is a Cyber Biter. I like that little Cyber Biter. I like the color scheme. I like, even though it's simple, the little weapon. I think those small little add-on pieces add a lot to that small weapon. Gives it some nice shaping. I also really like the armor set that's used for the Van Biter there, using it for a number of different ones. Works really well when you have the actual armor piece combined with the helmet. When you don't have the armor piece on, then you can see the alternate face too easily. Speaking of faces, there's one set of them, as well as a little bit better look at the torso of the Van Biter there on the left. Got some flesh that's all infected with tech stuff. And then the alternate faces for each. Both of these look pretty good. I think the torso on the back of the Van Biter looks great. Better than the front. It's a shame that most of the time you don't get to see it. Lastly, before I forget, this set's scannable Murloc power on the gold-backed shield plate is the hammer of Murloc. I'm surprised this set is so modest in the action feature department. Just looking at the pictures, I thought it was going to be full of them, and I thought I was going to do all sorts of things or have some major stuff. Just having the dropping of the bike feels like not enough for how much, like I said, they spent on building this thing up with that strong Technic core with so many Technic parts in there. And so I feel like that was not a good trade-off just to get that, given that they could have used those pieces to make the thing look better, look more complete, maybe be a little bit more stable with the struts, or at least, like I said, give me the spinning rotors, why not? Overall, I think the thing is okay, just not particularly great. I think that it's a nice parts pack, definitely has some nice building techniques used throughout. The bad guy stuff is good. The figures, I think, are good. The only thing lacking there was the lack of any print on the legs and hip for Robin. Anyway, that's Aaron's X-Bow, and these are some nice little light effects you can get from the little lens elements on those transparent NEXO Knights specific parts. I hope that I showed you everything you wanted to see about this set in terms of its features and how it looks from different angles and everything. And I'm going to get to work on my next video, as always, so I'll talk to you again soon.